Hey, welcome back. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to generate passive income with no initial funds. No, this is not a loan from grandma, and this is not gonna cost you as much as you think. So you might be thinking, no, my family doesn't come from money. I don't have the discretionary income. I work a 9-to-5 job. The check is gone before I even receive it. I want to talk to you about my first and my second land deal and show you how to generate passive income without any additional funds or without initial funds. So I'm driving down the road one day listening to a podcast and I hear about this crazy guy buying land at massive discounts and turning around and selling them for like absolute fortunes. Well, I was searching for something new at the time. You know, I was not liking my 9-to-5 job. I was a military officer, always gone, always away, always training. I would have to be on base by 6 a.m. to do physical training, and I usually wouldn't get to go home till about 7 p.m. I had a brand new baby. I had a wife that wanted to see me. This was tough times in my life and it was just stressful. So I just read the 4-hour work week and I'm like, sounds too good to be true. How can I implement something like this? So I was searching. And when you start searching for answers, the answers will come. You know, there's an old saying called, when the student's ready, the master will arrive. And this guy was totally the master at that time on that podcast. So I want to talk to you about what I was able to do from listening to one podcast. And I'm going to share with you today in this video how to generate passive income with no initial funds. So that first land deal, I had been wholesaling houses like haphazardly at that time. I had a list, and this was the tax delinquent list. And I was mailing this list a postcard for houses. But what was I doing? I was taking out the vacant land list. I was kind of just putting it to the side. I didn't know what to do with it, but when I heard this guy on a podcast talking about buying land at a massive discount, I was so intrigued. I had almost 687 land records of people that were behind on their taxes. So what does that mean? Tax delinquent list. They weren't paying their taxes on their land. So I sent them a nice little postcard saying, hey, my name's Brent. I'd like to buy your land on West Street. Most of the time, land does not have a physical address. Usually you can get a physical address for land when you apply for building permits. So most of the time, these were just street names. So, and it said, I'd like to buy your land on West Street or whatever street it was, if it had a street. Sometimes it was an APN number, like an assessor's parcel number. So guys, all I'm getting at is I was taking massive imperfect action. This was nothing that was calculated, just kind of like this YouTube video. We just start filming it and just got to do things and learn as you go. So the postcard, let me finish what it says. You know, I'd like to buy your land on West Street. If you're interested in a fair cash offer, no hassle, I do everything, call me. So I sent out 687 of these postcards. My phone rang 85 times. And remember at the beginning of this video when I was saying that I worked like 6 to 7, and I don't mean like 1 hour, I mean 13-hour days. I didn't have time to return these calls, so I'm like sneaking to the bathroom and returning them. I may have only returned about 20 of these phone calls, and out of these 20 phone calls, I did 2 deals, 2 profitable deals that each one of these deals netted me over $4,500. So let me break them down. The first deal, it was for $285. This was a retired CPA. He agreed to sell me this land at $285. I rode out on a Saturday with my wife to check out this land because I had no clue what I was getting into. It was about an hour away from my house. And this was the most like spectacular, beautiful piece of land, but there was one catch. It was not buildable. And the reason why it wasn't buildable is there was only one ingress and egress road. So in the mountain towns, if there's not 2 egresses, 2 escape routes for the firefighters, they can get pinned in and get burnt alive, basically. So the fire department will not allow this area to be built until they put a road over the railroad tracks. And then you got to deal with the railroad company. So it's a lot to do to build a second road. So we got this land for $285. I have not paid the seller yet because mostly I have no clue what it's worth. Like most of the time, like my students are always asking me, how do I figure out what land is worth? So at this time, I mean, like this is my first land purchase. I had no clue what this was worth or even how to figure it out. So me and my wife and my son, my brand new baby, he was a newborn at the time, we are driving down the hill and it's like God planted a real estate office right there for us to see less than a mile away from this property. I got the number, I called the real estate office. This is a Saturday, mind you, and this sweet, kind lady picks up the phone. And I was like, hey, I've got this piece of land. It's on Lake Avenue. I'm about to buy it. I have no clue what to sell it for. What could you list it for me on the MLS? And I want to hear your 30-day blowout price, because I don't want your 1-year price, like your phantom price or your wish price. I want to know what I can blast this land out for and get paid quick for. She goes, well, I don't know about a 30-day blowout price, but maybe you can sell it in like 45 days. And you probably could sell it for about $10,000. And I was just like, holy cow. I can buy this piece of land for $285 and sell it for $10,000. This is too good to be true. This must be too good to be true. I asked the realtor, I was like, hey, can I call you back? And I had to tell my wife. And before I got done telling my wife what this realtor just told me that this land is worth, because she knew all about it. Like, she explained the story, she explained why it was not buildable. She was very familiar with that street. So before I could finish telling my wife what the realtor had just told me, she's calling me back. And I said, hello? And she goes, hey, Brent, what if I bought that land from you? And I'm like, okay, what are you offering? She said, $5,000. And I said, oh, okay. When do you want to close? She said, I can close on Wednesday. So mind you, it's Saturday. I asked, like 4 days from now? She goes, yes, I'll buy it on Wednesday. So I was like, great, we have a deal, send me the contract. So she sent me the contract. I called the seller back and said, hey, can we meet on Tuesday? I'll give you the $285 on Tuesday and buy this land. Just bring the documents, bring the deed, transfer it to me. And we had a deal. Tuesday came around, I paid them the check, got the deed, and drove it to the title company. And I got my $5,000 check on Wednesday. That is how you build passive income without any additional funds. But you might be thinking, well, that doesn't sound like passive income. That's like a huge check. Well, let me tell you about land deal number 2. I told you I did 2 deals from those first, mailings, that first postcard sent out. Those first 687 postcards turned into 85 phone calls that I received. I only returned 20 of them and got 2 deals. Those are pretty good numbers. Here's the thing though, these people were motivated. They were on the tax delinquent list. They had had this land for many, many years, and no one was sending them a postcard on buying this land from them. So let's talk about land deal number 2. This was a $500 purchase, and I had to go and meet this lady on her massive front porch that was like bigger than my entire house. And she told me, she's like, my husband was a stockbroker. He bought this land like 35 years ago. We've been paying the taxes on it. I don't want it. So I actually tried to get her to come down a little bit more on price, because this was another non-buildable parcel of land. It was kind of a weird piece because you had to, go across state property to get to it. So she wouldn't come down any at all, but this was like almost 5 acres next to a state park. So I knew it was very valuable. So wrote her the $500 check, went home and put an ad on Craigslist that I would take $500 down and $400 a month for the next like 12 months. So long story short, I had a buyer that next day with $500 down, so I got my money back out of the property. That allowed me to move those funds to somewhere else. If you're watching this, you're thinking about, I only have money to do 1 deal, or I don't even have money. If I get my money back out the next day, how many times can I do these deals? And I can just keep building these. So now I have a note generating $400 a month. This is a payment each month. That's all a note is a promise to pay me $400 each month. So after all is said and done, after the mailing expenses, I made a profit of $4,500 on the first one and almost $5,000 on the second deal. That is how to generate a passive income with land without initial funds. So before I go to my last point, of this doesn't cost as much as you think it does, if this has at all intrigued you, go ahead and kick that subscribe button, or like this, or even give a comment below if you found any value in this. So, all right, let's move to the last point actually, of this doesn't cost as much as you think it does. So I think I've been talking to you about this through the entire video here, but I wanna break this down. These postcards cost me almost 35 cents each, and that's out the door mailed. So 35 cents times 687 is not very much. Also, the phone line was free. It was a Google Voice phone number. And then out of both land deals, the first 2, one was $500 and one was $285. And I got my money right back out. So I'm profitable. And oh, by the way, these 2 transactions, both of them, from beginning to end on both of them, from the time I mailed the postcards to the time I collected the second $500 down, plus that first $5,000 check, was not even 30 days. Here's the reason why it didn't cost me much and it didn't take long. I took massive action. Most people want to watch these videos all day long. I encourage you to take the action that I just talked to you about don't go watch more YouTube videos, unless it's my channel, obviously. But, take the action. Just remember that. And guys, if you're interested in learning how to do this, I have tons of amazing students that are just doing the same thing I'm talking about every single day. Head over to thelandsharks.com, book a call with me and my team. We'll talk to you. We'll figure out what your real estate goals are and see if we're a good match. And I'd be honored to coach you doing this.